Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahzad Ahmed. I'm a student of Rehan Teacher Training AI Institute. My batch number is 19. Today we are starting our interview discussion with ChatGPT on the topic of how to set boundaries in relationship and stay true to yourself. Let us begin our questions. Hello ChatGPT, are you available here?
Wa alaikum assalam, Shahzad Ahmad. Absolutely. I'm right here and ready to dive into the discussion with you. It sounds like a really interesting topic. Setting boundaries in relationships is definitely something worth exploring. So let's jump right into it.
Okay, let's start. What is boundary in simple word?
Sure, in simple words, a boundary is basically a line or a limit that you set to let others know what you're comfortable with and what you're not. It helps you protect your personal space and stay true to yourself in any relationship.
Okay. Why are boundaries important in relationship?
Well, boundaries are really important in relationships because they help keep things healthy and respectful. They basically let both people know what's okay and what's not, so no one feels taken advantage of or uncomfortable. In a nutshell, boundaries help you maintain your own well being while also building mutual respect in the relationship.
What does it mean to stay true yourself?
Staying true to yourself basically means being honest about who you are, what you believe in, and what you need. It's all about not losing yourself just to please others or to fit in. So when you set boundaries and stay true to yourself, you're just making sure that you're living in a way that's authentic to you and not compromising on the things that really matter to you.
Okay. Can boundaries excite in all relationship?
Absolutely. Boundaries can exist in all kinds of relationships. Whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or even just acquaintances, having boundaries is a healthy way to make sure that everyone knows what's comfortable and respectful. It really helps keep relationships balanced and make sure everyone feels understood and respected.
Are boundaries a sign of selfish or self-respect?
They're definitely a sign of self respect, not selfishness. Setting boundaries is really about taking care of your own needs and making sure that you can have healthy, respectful relationships. It's not about being selfish, it's about making sure that you're also respecting yourself while respecting others.
Okay. Why do people feel afraid to set boundaries?
Well, a lot of times people feel afraid to set boundaries because they worry about how others will react. They might fear that setting a boundary will make someone upset or that it could cause conflict or even lead to rejection. Sometimes people also just want to be seen as nice or easygoing and they think that having boundaries might make them seem difficult. But in reality, setting boundaries is a healthy thing to do and it actually helps relationships in the long run.
Can saying yes all the time be helpful, harmful?
Saying yes all the time can actually be more harmful than helpful. It might seem like you're just being agreeable and easy to get along with, but over time it can lead to feeling overwhelmed or even resentful because you're not honoring your own needs. Setting boundaries and sometimes saying no is actually a way to take care of yourself and make sure you have the energy and time for the things that really matter to you.
How does lack of boundaries cases stress?
Well, when there aren't clear boundaries, it can definitely lead to a lot of stress because you might feel like you're constantly being pulled in different directions or that people are crossing lines that make you uncomfortable. Without boundaries, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or like you have to meet everyone else's expectations all the time. And that can really drain your energy and cause a lot of anxiety. So, having boundaries is a good way to reduce that stress and keep things balanced.
Okay, can weak boundaries affect mental health?
Yes, absolutely. Weak boundaries can definitely have an impact on mental health. When your boundaries aren't strong, you might find yourself feeling emotionally drained or even resentful. because you're constantly putting other people's needs ahead of your own. Over time, this can lead to feelings of burnout, anxiety, or even depression because you're not giving yourself the space to recharge or feel respected. So, having good boundaries is really an important part of taking care of your mental well being.
How do boundaries perfect our emotions?
Well, boundaries really help protect our emotions by giving us a way to feel safe and respected. When you have clear boundaries, you know what your limits are, and you can communicate those limits to others. That means you're less likely to end up in situations where you feel overwhelmed, taken for granted, or emotionally exhausted. In other words, boundaries give you the emotional space to feel more balanced and in control of your own well being.
Okay, what are healthy boundaries in a relationship?
So, healthy boundaries in a relationship are basically those limits that you set to protect your own well being while still respecting the other person. They can look like saying no when you need to, asking for personal space when you need it, or just communicating openly about what you're comfortable with. Essentially, healthy boundaries are about being honest and clear about your needs and making sure that both you and the other person feel respected and understood.
Okay, how can say no politely?
Yeah, absolutely. Saying no politely is really about being both respectful and clear. You can do it by acknowledging the other person's request and then simply and kindly explaining that you can't take it on. For example, you might say something like, I really appreciate you asking me, but I won't be able to do that this time. This way, you're being polite and honest without feeling guilty about holding a boundary.
Is it okay explain our boundaries to others?
Absolutely. It's definitely okay and actually really helpful to explain your boundaries to others. When you communicate your boundaries clearly, it helps other people understand your needs and it makes it easier for them to respect those boundaries. It's all about healthy communication. And most of the time, people appreciate it when you're open about what you need because it makes the relationship clearer and more respectful for everyone involved.
How does clear communication help boundaries?
Well, clear communication is really the key to making boundaries work smoothly. When you express your boundaries clearly, it takes the guesswork out of the relationship and helps others understand exactly what you need. That way, there's less room for misunderstandings or accidental overstepping. It just makes everything more straightforward and helps both you and the other person feel more comfortable and respected.
Can boundaries improve trust in a relationship?
They definitely can. When you have clear boundaries, it actually builds trust because both people know where they stand. It shows that you respect yourself and the other person enough to be honest and upfront. And that kind of openness makes it easier to trust each other because you know that everyone's being genuine about their limits and needs. So, in the end, boundaries can definitely help strengthen trust in a relationship.
How do boundaries help us stay true to ourselves?
Well, boundaries really help you stay true to yourself because they let you honor your own needs and values. When you set boundaries, you're basically saying, this is what's important to me. And you're making sure you don't lose yourself by always going along with what others want. So, in a nutshell, boundaries help you stay authentic and keep you aligned with who you really are, which is super important for your own happiness and self respect.
Okay, how does knowing our limit help personal growth?
Well, knowing your limits is actually a big part of personal growth because it helps you understand yourself better. When you know your limits, you can set realistic goals and avoid burnout. And that actually creates space for you to grow in a healthy way. You can challenge yourself without overwhelming yourself. And by respecting your own boundaries, you build confidence and self awareness, which are both really important for personal development.
Can boundaries improve self confidence?
Absolutely. Boundaries can really boost your self confidence. When you set and maintain boundaries, you're basically showing yourself that your needs and your feelings matter. And that can help you feel more in control and more assured in your relationships and in your life. Over time, as you practice setting boundaries, you'll likely feel more confident because you know you can advocate for yourself and protect your own well being.
Okay, how does, when should we set boundaries in a relationship?
That's a great question. Really, it's a good idea to set boundaries early on in a relationship or whenever you feel that you need them. It doesn't have to be a big formal thing, it can just be a natural part of communicating as you get to know someone. And if you ever notice that you're feeling uncomfortable or that something isn't working for you, that's usually a sign that it's time to set or adjust a boundary. So, really, anytime you feel the need for it is the right time.
Okay, is it okay to change boundaries over time?
Absolutely. It's totally okay to change your boundaries over time. In fact, it's pretty natural because as you grow and your relationships evolve, your needs might change too. It's all about staying true to yourself and adjusting those boundaries when you feel it's necessary. So feel free to revisit and update them whenever you need to.
Okay, how can we stay clean while setting boundaries?
Well, staying calm while setting boundaries is really all about approaching the conversation with a sense of kindness and clarity. You can take a deep breath, remind yourself that it's okay to have these needs, and then just speak in a steady, respectful tone. If you stay calm and confident, it sets the tone for a positive and open conversation. And most people will respond well when you're both clear and calm.
Okay, how can student set boundaries with friends?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for a student setting boundaries with parents, it can be helpful to start by having an open and respectful conversation. They can calmly explain what they need. Maybe it's more privacy, more independence, or just a bit of space for studying. And let the parents know that setting these boundaries will actually help them feel more balanced and focused. The key is to communicate clearly and kindly and to be ready to listen to their parents' perspective as well. That way, everyone can find a comfortable middle ground.
What daily habits support healthy boundaries?
Well, some daily habits that can support healthy boundaries include regularly checking in with yourself to see how you're feeling, practicing saying no when you need to, and making time for self care. It's also helpful to communicate openly each day with the people around you so that everyone knows what you need. Over time, these little habits really help reinforce your boundaries and keep your relationships healthy and balanced.
This discussion helped me understand. Uh, okay, from this interview, I learned that boundaries are important for healthy relationship and self-respect. I learned that setting boundaries help perfect our emotions and mental space. Staying true to ourselves means knowing our limit and respecting our need. This discussion helped me understand that clear boundaries lead to better relationship and balanced life. Thank you very much, ChatGPT. This is the end of my interview. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad the discussion was helpful and that you got some good insights out of it. It was a pleasure chatting with you about boundaries and all those ways they can help. So take care and Allah Hafiz.